Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. Look, as university biology students, you spend a ton of time poring over textbooks filled with established facts, right? You're memorizing phylogenetic trees, charting metabolic pathways, and honestly, it's super easy to feel like all the great biological discoveries have already been made, like the map is completely filled in. But today, actually, scratch that. Today, we are going to look at our planet not as a fully mapped territory, but as a totally unexplored alien frontier. We're going to examine some absolutely groundbreaking wildlife discoveries, many from just this past year, and unpack what they mean for the future of the biological sciences.
I want you to just sit with this number for a second. 10%. Despite all of our high-tech satellite mapping, massive global research networks, and advanced deep-sea probes, modern marine biologists estimate that we have only identified around 10% of all marine life on Earth. 10%. That leaves an astounding 90% completely in the dark. To put that into perspective, it means there are between 1 and 2 million species still out there, entirely unknown to science, just waiting to be found.
Okay, let's dive into this. To analyze these recent discoveries, we'll follow a quick thematic syllabus. We're going to cover the unmapped biosphere, look at some evolutionary rule breakers, explore chemical and metabolic extremes, discuss how we are redefining animal cognition, and wrap up with the deep ocean frontier. Starting right off with Chapter 1, the unmapped biosphere.
For centuries, the absolute deepest trenches of the ocean and the most remote mountain peaks were, well, practically invisible to us. The biological data from these regions was essentially non-existent. But look at what's changing the game right now. We are entering this golden age of field biology entirely because of modern discovery tools. We're deploying underwater drones, remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, lightweight cameras that can somehow survive the most extreme conditions, and incredibly rapid DNA sequencing. Thanks to this new tech, we're finally reaching these hidden ecosystems and making discoveries that are literally rewriting the biological rules we thought we had all figured out.
That takes us straight into Chapter 2, evolutionary rule breakers. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it completely shatters our understanding of the phylum Porphyria. In biology, we rely so heavily on taxonomy and morphology to categorize life, but nature doesn't always read our textbooks. Case in point, in early 2025, a massive iceberg called 84 broke away from the Antarctic ice shelf, exposing this ancient, untouched seafloor. Researchers sent down an ROV and found a newly named species, Chondroclaudia sp. nov. They're calling it the death ball sponge. Usually, sponges are defined as passive filter feeders surviving on plankton, but not the death ball. It skips plankton entirely. It's covered in these tiny hooks and acts as an active assassin, physically trapping and consuming small animals. So nature's most passive creature basically evolved into a predator, completely flipping its role in the trophic web. No way we saw that coming. Moving from extreme behaviors to some really unique morphology, let's take a look at the guitar shark. This is a newly cataloged species of rhinobatos discovered by the Ocean Census Project off the coasts of Mozambique and Tanzania, also in 2025. It honestly looks like an evolutionary mashup. It's got this flat, ray-like body with wide pectoral fins, but then it has the robust, powerful tail of a true shark. But there's a real biological tragedy attached to this one. This animal is already critically endangered. It serves as the stark, sobering reminder to conservation biologists that we are currently in an era where we can discover a complex species and potentially lose it within the exact same generation. And speaking of incredible survival adaptations, check out this behavioral anomaly from Western Australia. This little guy is the Carnarvon flapjack octopus. Confirmed by science in 2025, this tiny, 4-centimeter wide cephalopod is a type of Dumbo octopus. But when it's threatened, it uses a defense mechanism that is just unlike anything else. It completely flattens its gelatinous body against the seafloor, literally like a pancake, to evade predators. It's an absolute masterclass in biomechanical evasion.
Let's pivot now to Chapter 3, Chemical and Metabolic Extremes.
We are finding newly discovered species that are pushing the absolute boundaries of biochemistry, pharmacology, and metabolic speed. Deep in Brazil's Juruá River Basin, researchers formally published findings in 2025 on this stunning specimen, Ranitoma yaya aquamarina. It's this tiny, highly toxic dart frog with metallic copper legs and incredibly vivid blue-green stripes. For those of you studying evolutionary ecology, you'll immediately recognize this vivid coloration as apocephzam, a highly evolved chemical warning system telling predators to back off. It was only seen by human eyes a couple of years prior, proving that the Amazon still holds these massive secrets that are vital to toxicological research.
And this brilliantly illustrates the immense pharmacological value hidden out there in the wild. Meet Turridrupa magnifica, the deep-sea harpoon snail. This newly identified predatory snail hunts by actually firing venomous, harpoon-like teeth to instantly paralyze its prey. So why does a deep-sea snail matter to us? Well, because biochemical analysis of venom from its closest relatives is showing incredible promise in human medicine right now, specifically for advanced pain management and even targeting cancer cells. It perfectly highlights how biodiversity is essentially this massive untapped library of biomedical solutions.
But extreme biology isn't just about venom or the deep sea. It's also about pushing metabolic limits. Take the Mount Lyell shrew of California's eastern Sierra Nevada. It has a metabolism so incredibly fast that it has to eat constantly. Because of that frantic pace, it had never actually been photographed alive. But in January 2025, 3 undergraduate students, Bashal, Prokrit, and Harper, completely changed that. Notice their incredibly rigorous field methodology here. They laid over 100 traps, spent 4 freezing nights in the mountains, and checked every single trap every 2 hours, just to ensure the shrew wouldn't burn out its metabolism and die while caught. And it worked. They captured the first photograph in history. For all the undergrads watching this explainer right now, let this inspire you. Vital, history-making field biology is absolutely within your grasp.
All right, moving on to Chapter 4, Redefining Animal Cognition.
So the crucial point is, as biologists, measuring intelligence in non-human species is notoriously tricky. But every so often, an observation comes along that forces us to completely rewrite the behavioral ecology textbooks. Consider this stunning footage captured out in the Pacific Ocean in 2025. Now, we already knew orcas were intelligent, right? They have coordinated hunting tactics, complex regional dialects, but researchers filmed them doing something totally unprecedented. They were picking up seaweed, physically modifying it, and then deliberately using it as a shared tool for social grooming. This is the very first time any marine mammal has ever been documented making and sharing a grooming-related tool. It completely shifts our understanding of their cognition, proving that their social structures and problem-solving skills are way more complex than we ever previously theorized.
And finally, Chapter 5, The Deep Ocean Frontier.
This is the realm of crushing pressure and eternal darkness, a place where ancient species have been hiding totally out of sight, evolving in pure isolation for millions of years. In December 2025, just months ago, a massive deep Pacific expedition returned with what can only be described as an absolute biological goldmine. In just one trip, they identified 20 potential new species. We are talking about crabs with body morphologies completely absent from our current literature, uniquely colored sponges, sea squirts anchored to volcanic rock 2 whole miles down, and an entirely new species of Gorgonian coral thriving where no sunlight has literally ever penetrated. The sheer volume of undocumented biodiversity waiting in the dark down there is just staggering.
But you know, sometimes the deep sea throws us an absolute curveball. Take the black sea devil anglerfish. Normally, this terrifying predator is confined to the crushing depths between 1,000 and 2,000 meters. Yet, in early 2025, researchers off the Canary Islands spotted one right near the surface, in clear, sunlit water. This is a massive ecological anomaly. Why on earth was it up there? Well, the leading biological theory right now is that the anglerfish fed on a deep-sea prey item, and the expanding gases in that prey's swim bladder effectively acted like a balloon, carrying the predator all the way to the surface. It's a remarkable, once-in-a-lifetime observation.
Let's move to and see how this builds to the absolute climax of our deep-sea discoveries. For centuries, we only knew this animal from dead specimens that washed ashore, or, parts pulled from the stomachs of sperm whales. But in 2025, a research submersible in the Southern Ocean finally captured the first ever living footage of Messinioteuthes hamiltoni, the colossal squid, the largest invertebrate on Earth, possessing the largest eyes in the entire animal kingdom, finally observed alive, swimming in its natural habitat. It is just a monumental triumph for marine biology.
What is so incredibly fascinating here is how this merges historical maritime lore with rigorous modern science. Every sailor who ever claimed they saw a sea monster, turns out they were right. The colossal squid isn't a myth anymore. It is a cataloged, observed, biological reality. The magnitude of finally putting a living image to a centuries-old legend really just cannot be overstated.
Which brings us right back to where we started. If we can capture the colossal squid on camera, if undergrads can document the impossible-to-catch shrew, and if we can find 20 new species on a single ocean dive, just imagine what is waiting for us in the other 90% of the ocean that remains totally unexplored. The age of biological discovery isn't over by a long shot. It is really just beginning. and you are the exact generation of scientists who are going to uncover it. So my question to you all is, what do you think we'll find next? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep your curiosity sharp, and I'll see you next time.